I've been working in international development for 20 years plus, primarily in evaluation, but also a lot of work as a civil society specialist, supporting participatory engagement, policy research and analysis, and organizational capacity assessment and strategy development. Also, I started off in sustainable agriculture. My academic training is in geography at UCLA with a focus on the subdisciplines of cultural and political ecology. And I mention this because it's influenced a lot of my approach to evaluation. Cultural ecology examines human adaptations to social and physical environments, whereas political ecology examines economic and social factors that shape how we shape the environment. And both of these disciplines have influenced how I've approached evaluation. Currently, in addition to freelancing on a number of assignments, I'm excited to be the coordinator of one of the working groups, the Transformational Evaluation Working Group with the International Evaluation Academy, IEA. This is a newly formed initiative that will be going public relatively soon.
That is very, very interesting. And related to this, given the conference's theme of evaluation in an uncertain world, complexity, legitimacy, and ethics, in your view, what are the most pressing issues for evaluation, and how is your work contributing towards these issues?
Well, I think the most pressing issues for evaluation today are what are the most pressing issues for humanity. And this includes a range of global social and environmental challenges, which are all mirrored in the SDGs or a number of other frameworks. And these challenges are all interrelated. But the one that floats to the top for me is the climate crisis. And I see it as a meta driver of problematic change that has a multiplier effect that exacerbates existing problems like inequality, poverty, oppression, and racism. Global warming and the concurrent deteriorating ecosystem affects the planet's habitability and natural resource base needed to sustain humanity. So it stresses social systems. So I think this is something that, regarding your question about, how am I contributing to this? A good part of my evaluation career was working for over a decade as a senior M&E advisor with the International Federation Red Cross Red Crescent. And its mission is to help the most vulnerable in the world. And as a meta driver of problematic change, I see the climate crisis has disproportionately impacted the most vulnerable, the poor and marginalized in the world. And, for this reason, I got increasingly drawn towards M&E to support community resilience and climate adaptation work with the Red Cross Red Crescent. And then in 2017, I took a role as the director of evidence measurement and evaluation for the climate change portfolio at the Children's Investment Fund Foundation, which focused primarily on M&E supporting climate mitigation, which is looking more at preventing global warming versus helping people adapt to it. Currently, I try to focus my M&E expertise on both of these, climate adaptation and mitigation. And I believe that complex systems analysis is essential for this work. So a lot of my focus in transformational evaluation is trying to nudge transformational change within the practice of evaluation, the uptake of complex systems analysis to better support the transformational imperative, if you want to call it that I feel humanity needs to have if we're going to be around in the next century as a species. Not to sound melodramatic, but I really believe that some of the challenges we are facing are that extreme.
Would you tell me about your expectations for the 2021 EES online conference?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very impressed with the EES. I've been involved with the American Evaluation since the start of my career in evaluation, and I've got more involved with the EES. And I feel the EES themes really face head on the critical issues of the time. This was reflected in the 2018 theme, Evaluation for More Resilient Societies, and again, this year's theme on complexity, legitimacy, and ethics. For me, the theme this year underscores the importance of complex systems analysis, which I spoke about a bit earlier, and that evaluation needs to go beyond accountability. And I go into this in the professional development workshop I'll be giving with the conference. But my overall hope for the conference is that it will help leverage the transformation of evaluation so it can better support the much needed global transformations I spoke about earlier. Having said this, ultimately, I think evaluations transformation is interconnected with global transformation and will unfold unpredictably. It's hard to predict how this will happen, but I do like to think that a profession intended to improve things through assessment can take a more proactive role in nurturing the transformation that we need for our shared tomorrow.
Thank you. The other question, can you give us a sneak peek about of what your professional development workshop session will discuss?
As the write-up of the workshop flags or identifies, there are three primary learning objectives. We look at what is this transformational agenda and how does it relate to evaluation. And then I look at the difference between conventional and transformational evaluation. And I say sometimes we because it's going to be, I want the workshop participants to engage in this. We're also going to be looking at some of the key principles and practices for transformational evaluation for the 21st century. And I'm going to be adding on something. We're looking at how do you commission evaluation so it can be more transformational as well. I'd like this to be an applied workshop and not just conceptual, but look at a lot of practical approaches. A lot of the workshop draws on an article and recent research that I did on with Adam Hedgenowitz called Evaluating Outside the Box, Evaluation's Transformational Potential. And so we'll be looking at some of the boxes or bad habits that constrain evaluation's transformational potential and how to break out of those boxes so evaluation can better support the transformational agenda.
If you could give one piece of advice to young and emerging evaluators, what would it be?
Well, sometimes we talk about putting skin in the game, and this is really, I think, the time to put skin in the game and roll up the sleeves and become active. And for me, the young and emerging evaluators are the future for evaluation, and a lot of the issues that I just spoke about, their perspective is incredible, so incredibly important. So I encourage them to step up and speak out, and I encourage them to think outside the box. Whether you're seeking to work at the local, national, or global levels, I think a good way to think outside the box is to explore complex systems analysis as a means to break out of these boxes. And another way to do that is engage just as much with non-evaluators and non-evaluation communities of practice as with the evaluation community and other evaluators. Because I think what's critically important is multiple perspectives in evaluation, and that can come from outside evaluation, kind of a transdisciplinary approach. So those are shooting from the hip. Those are some pieces of, I don't know if you call it advice, but just considerations for young and emerging evaluators.